Hello and welcome back to the video, and today we're on part 3 of the perfect match. As I was waiting for the other one to load to my SD card, I came to the realization, just sitting in the space that I was looking at on the notes, that it's important to say this. If in the midst of watching the movie, I came to the realization your kingdom spouse had reasons for liking the counterfeit. This counterfeit, as I watched her operate in this film, she's gorgeous, she's what have you. But there's something that she did that we as kingdom spouses don't do. And I actually heard a minister talk about this. I watched how this woman maneuvered. The woman, she goes, she gets his drink. She goes and she sits down. She goes and she sits and she listens to what he is saying. How many of us actually sit down and listen to our men that we're in relationship with? Listen. This is actually going to speak to something else to y'all. Yep, I'm getting on y'all. How long do you sit and listen to the Lord? Ooh, do you listen to God? I mean, listen. I read my word. I fast. I this. I that. How often do you sit down and listen? A lot of us sit and pray. And we think because we sit there for 3 hours and pray, we done did something. I have a relationship with God. Think about if you were in a relationship with your kingdom spouse. If you sat for 3 hours talking to your kingdom spouse and never let him speak, how would you think that would make him feel? Oh, okay. She sat there and she listened. While he was talking, she didn't say anything. She stood there, made his drink, walked back around, sat the drink in front of him, preparing it the exact way that he wanted it, and listened. I heard an apostle say this in a word about 1.5 years ago. He said the biggest problem that spouses have is they get comfortable with their husbands and they start talking too much, meaning they start nitpicking. They start poking at a man. The word I'm talking about, and he recently did a word on this, you should probably check it out. Look up Apostle Young Blood. I believe it's called Sex Therapy, but sex is in the title. Look up Apostle Young Blood and put the word sex. And he was talking about in one of his, he did a 2-part video. He said he's going to go back and continue talking about it. But he was talking about the fact that when women get married to men, they forget that they have to be approachable to this man. They got to listen to this man. They got to hear this man's needs. They also got to realize they've got to, the main reason that men cheat is because they feel respect from somebody else. You get married to a man and you stop respecting him over time. The number one thing my mother told me about my father years ago: don't lose your father's respect. Respect. What it is the fact that women have the tendency that we will get comfortable in the relationship, and then we'll start nitpicking. Why didn't you take out the trash? Why didn't you this, that, and the other? Why didn't you, you don't do that, you didn't. But you don't give them any respect about what they do actually do in the relationship. And you don't big them up on what they are doing. The apostle made a point of saying this in his word. Like, you want that man to do something for you? Start talking about how wonderful it is to see him taking the groceries in the house. He'll go and take your groceries in the house every single time. Especially if you big him up on it. He's like, my wife loves it when I take in the groceries. But we have a tendency, we start tearing down. What does it say in the scripture? That a woman can build up a house and tear down a house with her mouth. Sometimes we can tear down a house because we're talking too much instead of listening. That's what she was doing in these scenes. She sat there and she listened. Oh, but that taps on another thing that we have a problem with: standing still. I'm a talker. I can talk. How do you know? You're on a channel that all I do is talk to y'all, do I not? I like talking. Matter of fact, actually, y'all are the ones I talk to. I don't talk. But as much as I talk on here, you would think I was talking 24/7. No, I only talk here because I don't talk to nobody when I'm not. I'm not talking outside of this space. It would be unbelievable, but yeah. I do all my talking here. But with that being said, that's what the man needs. So she was listening. As wives, when we step into the role of wives, we're going to have to listen to these men. It's the listening and the attentiveness that we have to what they said that's going to make the differences in our marriages. Because just like I said with God, how often do you sit and listen? I will tell you the truth. Some people say, oh, God don't speak to you. God don't have an audible voice. Let me tell you something. I remember 2-3 occasions this happened. I was praying to God. One day I was still in New York. There was this place I used to always go and sit and walk around and stuff like that. It's a beautiful area. Around this time of year, it's this area with trees over by the Brickfield Place Mall. Beautiful. I would go over there and I would sit sometimes. Well, one afternoon, I was in prayer and I was doing my evening walk and stuff like that with the Lord. And the Lord had me sit down in this chair. I was like, oh, okay. Lord, we're in this moment, okay. God says, sit down and don't say nothing. I was like, huh? When I tell you God started speaking, he started speaking and speaking and speaking. He talked for about an hour and a half. Why? Because he needed me to listen. You need to listen to your spouse. You want to avoid your husband cheating? Listen to your spouse. Why do you think? I'm going to be honest with you. There was a show called The Big League that I used to watch. It came on one season last year. It didn't get picked back up this season. But there was a character in it that she was an exotic sex therapist or some type of thing. What she did was she would do pole dancing or something on video chats, she would do video chats, and then she had a location that the men would come and watch her. And there was a woman whose husband had been cheating on her with this woman. They ended up meeting because in the contest, the two women were in the same dance contest. And she found out that this woman that was exotic sex therapist was the one that was talking to her husband. And then she's like, what? And she got pissed off. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to find out. So what she did was she went over to her and she started talking. She was like, how you was doing this and that with my husband, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, yeah, what's your problem? And she's like, I want to know, blah, blah, blah. Pay me. She paid her $300 and they got on a video chat just like she would have done with the husband. And sat there and she said, I want to know, how is it that you knew my husband? Da, 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 da. She's like, did you ever sit down and listen to the man? That's what the girl said to her. She's like, did you listen to him? She's like, I'm his wife. Of course I listened to him. Did you listen to him? This man doesn't pay me just to watch me dance. This man pays me because he wants to talk. Oh. Another thing, I was looking at something the other day. It's a comedian I look at. He had a post up. Is a video was talking about there's somebody that men actually pay women as their cuddle buddy or something like that. And the woman looked like a exotic stripper, to be honest with you. And it was another video, and this popped up on my feed recently too, talking about why it is that married men would pay this particular woman to cheat on their wives with this woman. She don't sit there and talk like the wife do. She will listen. And they get the sex too. Oh. Maybe you need to take your controlling hat off and get this in check. Because when your spouse comes in, he's going to need you to listen. This is why I also believe the Lord has been trying to teach us to stand still, because we're going to have to keep our mouth shut and listen to this man talk out his issues and his problems. We are supposed to be servants in these marriages, okay? And the best way we can serve them is to listen to them. Some of them just need a listening ear. They don't need you to talk. I remember, and I'm even hearing this. I don't know which movie it is. Is it Why Did I Get Married? It may be Why Did I Get Married, but I'm seeing the actors from The Best Man. Is it Bill? It ain't Bill Bellamy. It's the one that played the jock in The Best Man movies. I forget what his name is. And The Best Man is getting ready to start their new series on Peacock, December 22nd. Woo! But the one that was the football player whose wife died in the second one, I'm seeing him. It's like I'm hearing the person say, I don't need you to talk. I need you to listen. That's our problem. We ain't been listening. You get ready to get in a marriage. These men gonna need you to listen. We are trained talkers. What do? We go talk to our girlfriends. They need listening ears. They don't need you to talk. I done spent this whole half of this, but this is important. Y'all need to listen, because y'all gonna be wondering, God forbid your spouse cheats on, God forbid it. But you're gonna need to check your parameters and make sure you ain't talking too much and not listening. Because just like I said, when I started this part of the conversation, if you sat down with your spouse and all you did was talk and didn't let them get a word in edgewise, How's that going to make them feel? What man's going to choose to be married to you if they understand that, oh, she just going to sit there, talk, 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 talk. She ain't even listening. She ain't even trying to listen. She don't even want to know what I have to say. So why? Ever notice that you be talking to a man and it seems like he's not attentive to you at all? You just talk, 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 talk. And then you wonder, you're not listening to me. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. I'm going to release y'all from that point. But it needed to be said. And I needed to sit in that space. Because some men need that. They need that respect and they need that listening ear. And they also need when you to encourage them. When a man feels like he's being encouraged, they will open their heart up to you. Love on the man. Give them encouraging advice. Okay. So at this point, he makes a decision. I want to shoot you. Meaning he wants to do a photo shoot with her. So he says, I want to take you into town and I want to do a photo shoot. I want to take your picture. And she says, I'm not that kind of girl. Plus, we don't know what she got going on in the background. So she's like, I don't know about getting photographed and all that. And then she's like, I want to take photos. It's like, I'm going to shoot you in such a way that ain't nobody going to be able to recognize you, okay? And she's like, all right. So they go into town and he takes a bunch of pictures of her at the beach. She's jumping around and frolicking and all this kind of stuff. They're taking photos on the street. They go back to the beach area in which he likes to always run in, all up in that area, and so on and so forth. And they take pictures. And as well, that worked out kind of well because what I just said was actually right here in a short note that I needed to touch on. So after he shoots her, they come back and they're talking and he's just being a little bit more open with her because he feels more comfortable with her at this point. You got a date spouse got to feel comfortable. He's going to open up with you too. He's got to feel comfortable. This woman made this man feel comfortable opening up just in the few conversations that they've already had. And she ain't even really talking that much. Matter of factly, if you pay attention, he's never really asking her about her personal life. What do you do? Where are you from? What are your parents like? But he never does. So he's never been interested to that point. So with this happening, he kind of coaxes and goes into